I'm between destinations right now, but I wanted to just register that I woke up this morning and found out the rather shocking news out of Hollywood concerning the murder of Rob Reiner and his wife. It's been a pretty violent last few days in the news. On, was it Friday? There was the shooter at Brown University. And on Saturday, I think, the Bondi Beach shooting in Australia. And now a double homicide in Brentwood. Boy, hey, those of us who remember the 90s, doesn't that sound familiar? Double homicide in Brentwood. Doesn't that bring back some memories? So yeah, but this rather shocking story. When I heard when I saw Rob Reiner R.I.P., I thought, he had just died a natural death or something, because he was, he was on the elderly side. But then found out that they had been stabbed to death in their beds, presumably while they were asleep, which is that's a pretty gnarly way to go. And I mean, just to point out the obvious, and that their son Nick, who's 32, is apparently the chief suspect, the person of interest right now. When I first found out about this, I woke up on the early side, which is something I do a lot, and was reading a bit about this story, and Rob Reiner was somebody who, he was, on the one hand, a real Hollywood pain in the ass, liberal whiner. Every time I heard him express his opinions, especially in the last 20 years or so, it was almost always really irritating. But on the other hand, this is a guy who had some pedigree as far as movie making, as far as just being in showbiz. Playing Meathead on the Norman Lear sitcom All in the Family. Talk about social engineering. Those Norman Lear sitcoms from the 70s, pretty blatant examples of that. But anyway, that was maybe the first thing that he became well known as. And then he went behind the camera, directed a lot of movies in the 80s and into the 90s that are still very well liked. My personal favorite is, of course, this is Spinal Tap. I think that's a absolutely hilarious movie. I'm one of those people who, remembers quotes and uses them from time to time. Spinal Tap quotes just come to me from time to time. So I guess that shows my age. I don't know whether it's as funny to the younger folk, but I hope it is. I hope they can still see the humor there. So he did Spinal Tap. He also did Princess Bride. Still an incredibly popular film. He did Misery, an adaptation of the Stephen King novel. He did Stand By Me, which I think is a little maudlin, but still, in some ways, this a really seminal movie, both with regard to the baby boom generation, because that's when it was set. It was set in the 60s, and that's who it was geared towards. But It's also, I think, a staple of Gen X because it featured, a lot of the young actors who were just coming up in showbiz at the time, um, including Joaquin Phoenix's brother, River, who died tragically and somewhat mysteriously. But I remember in the late 80s, early 90s, he was like a heartthrob. Um, and of course, Will Wheaton before he got on Star Trek and everybody hated him. I thought he was all right in Stand By Me. But anyway, um, and when Harry Met Sally, of course, another movie widely regarded as a comedy classic. The ultimate rom-com, rom-com, whatever. So this guy, he hadn't done much for a while that I was aware of. But what I did find out from reading up on his story was that he had actually directed a movie in 2015, and it was a movie that he made collaboratively with his son Nick, the main suspect in the murders, in murdering Rob Reiner and murdering Reiner's wife, who is this man's mother. So his name is Nick Reiner, and he's 32 years old. But 10 years ago, at the age of 22, he co-wrote the screenplay, and Rob Reiner directed the movie, which is loosely based, or actually maybe not that loosely based, on his life as somebody who struggled with substance abuse as a young man, and his conflict with his father. So I had to go after hearing this news. And it was early in the morning. I wasn't going back to sleep. I kind of had to go ahead and watch the movie. And in the movie, it's sort of they don't make it totally clear that this is autobiographical. The character's name is Charlie Mills. His father is played by Cary Elwes. Is that how you say his name? The actor who played the male lead in The Princess Bride. And he plays this former actor who's running for governor of California now, and meanwhile his son Charlie is getting bounced around from one drug rehabilitation place to another, trying maybe somewhat half-heartedly to find sobriety, but sort of thinks the whole process is bullshit and is very embittered about a lot of things. And the story concerns mostly the struggles that Charlie, who is Nick's alter ego, the things that he struggles with, and it ends on a semi-hopeful but still kind of downer note. It's a movie that has some kind of gallows humor to it. Actually has some funny moments, but mostly, it's this drama about this conflict between a father and son. So that was interesting. And there's an interview that both Rob and Nick Reiner give, where they're talking to somebody about the making of the movie, and it's so weird watching this interview. And of course, this was 10 years ago, Um, and but it's pretty eerie watching this interview now, seeing Rob and Nick sit there side by side, uh, and you can tell that there's some awkwardness, uh, you know, even then between them. So it was apparently a rocky road with this one son of theirs. They also had two other children who are now grown. So yeah, that's it. I wanted to just register this as a moment in the culture. Uh, I'm not sure what it all means or what it all indicates or what it I mean, there are things about that manner of death that and this is Hollywood, so you never know. I mean, questions of was it a ritual sacrifice? I know that seems out there, probably seems way out there to some of you, um, but this is Hollywood. Okay, we're talking about Hollywood here. Uh, I don't think it's. I would not put it. I would not put it beyond the pale of possibility. Uh, and it's just a little bit just it's kind of crazy how things have, like, there have been all these escalations lately, like I said, over the last few days, all these things, all these violent events, the public, I mean, I'm sure there are violent things every day that we don't know about. I'm not saying the world's gotten more violent or any more or less violent, probably, but we just have these high profile cases like the shooting at Brown, which turned out to the culprit, or the person of interest turned out to be a young man in his 20s who's ex-military and went to sniper school. So what was he doing? Just trying to shoot up I don't think he had an affiliation with the university. What was he doing? What was the point of that shooting spree? Then the thing in Australia, where it appears that two Muslims, the official story anyway, two Muslims attacking a Jewish neighborhood or an area where a bunch of Jews were celebrating the first day of Hanukkah on the beach, and they altogether, I think, killed 15 people. This is in Australia, where they've got. So if you're talking about gun control, if you want to get on your gun control high horse, Australia is, they've pretty much disarmed. They've pretty much disarmed the population there. It didn't stop this from happening. And then this event, I guess, which just happened last night. Again, a high profile case. It's not that I'm saying violent. There's more violence. It's just a high profile example, of a director who, in his heyday, in his prime, was one of the main people working in Hollywood, and very successful, very popular, a series of very successful, very popular movies that endure to this day. So, a lot going on. I don't know what to make of it all. What do y'all think?